What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Party on Broad. Today we are doing a 3-round mock for the NFC East. Joining me, my main man, Ryan Reese of Philly Sports Alliance. What's up, Ryan?
Not much, man. Glad to be here. This is it's a nice little take to get all of the NFC East into one and kind of recapping what they've done so far and what they could be looking for in the draft. This is great.
Absolutely. Let's jump right in. I am controlling the Cowboys and the Giants. Ryan is controlling the Eagles and the Commanders. We're just going to go pick by pick and see how this goes. We're going to, again, recap free agency to date, and let's jump in. We're using PFF's mock draft simulator. We're starting here, and I'm going to just quickly recap what's going on here in the draft. Bryce Young goes number 1. Anthony Richardson, number 2. And C.J. Stroud to the Colts. Bang, bang, bang. 3 quarterbacks in the first 4 picks. Jalen Carter goes number 5. Will Levis to the Raiders. And then the Eagles are on the clock. I'm going to throw D-Ryan.
All right. So obviously we, know what the Eagles have done this offseason. There's been, a lot of cornerback talk, obviously. But now we've gotten Bradbury back. Slay was released, but he wasn't. But then he restructured, but then he didn't, and then he did. So we got our corners kind of locked. And, it looks like the Eagles are going to probably go, chalk, if you will, and look to build through the line. And listen, as much as I would love to grab a Devin Witherspoon at this point, and I have done in many mock drafts, I just feel like the need is probably more on the line. So I'm going to kind of follow what you've done actually in a few mock drafts lately, and I'm going to go with Myles Murphy for the Eagles out of Clemson. For whatever reason, he's kind of way down there for PFF, which makes zero sense to me. But yeah, I mean, this adds to Brandon Graham coming back and a healthy Derek Barnett. Josh Sweat, having such a great year. That they love their rotation. So this just adds another weapon on the line and, continue what they built last year, which is a dominating defensive line. So Myles Murphy to the Eagles, easy call here.
Love that selection so very much. Real quick, the Christian Gonzalez go with the Tennessee Titans. Quentin Johnston to the Houston Texans, JSN to the New York Jets, Devin Witherspoon to the Patriots, and then Lucas Van Ness to the Green Bay Packers. You're on the clock yet again with the Washington Commanders at pick 16.
All right. So Washington really hasn't done a terrible amount this offseason. They did bring in Jacoby Brissett. They lost Heineke. So it's going to be kind of Brissett and Howell. We'll see kind of how that plays out. They also brought in offensive tackle Andrew Wiley. I believe he was with the Chiefs last year, right? And he can kind of play all over. I think they're probably going to put him out at right tackle, which would push their current tackle, Sam Cosmi, probably into guard. They've also signed a couple other offensive linemen. So they're really trying to build up their offensive line there. And they've gotten some decent depth. I think Nick Gates from the Giants they signed. So they're really trying to kind of protect, not that they have an actual quarterback, but they're at least trying to build that line. And they've signed a couple of small depth pieces here and there. So no real big signings. So they can kind of go all over. PFF right now has them looking for a quarterback, a guard, center, linebacker. Honestly, I feel like they could kind of go all over, except for maybe defensive line, which seems to be their strong suit. But just kind of looking at the draft board here, I see a player that I feel like has the potential to be a top 10 guy. And he's the clear, I believe, the clear cut number one at his position. That's Brian Branch out of Alabama. They have a history with really good safeties over the Washington team history. And Brian Branch would come in and just give them a playmaker back in the defensive backfield to kind of really give them the quarterback, so to speak, of their defense. And yeah, just another weapon to add to the defense there, and I think it's a great value at that point.
All right. All right. So the New York Giants are on the clock here at pick number 25. You look at PFF's needs: wide receiver, tight end, center, and linebacker. Quick recap of the New York Giants. Daniel Jones is returning as the signal caller in New York. Signed a 4-year, $160 million deal with an APY of $40 million. So that's for another show. They also traded for big-time tight end Darren Waller for a 3rd-round pick, then reworked his contract. ESPN Field Yates also reported that they converted $9+ million of Waller's base salary into a signing bonus, thus clearing approximately $7 million in additional salary cap space. Darius Slayton is also returning. He was the team leader in receiving yards in 2022. You look at Paris Campbell, who they brought in, who could be a nice addition. He was pretty solid for the Colts, finally able to stay healthy last year. They brought in some other guys, but let's jump right into kind of what the New York Giants need. Middle linebacker is a big need for the New York Giants. I'm looking at who was drafted. I've got a couple available here that I really, really like. I haven't seen Trenton Simpson's name on here yet. He seems to be available, and based on PFF's rankings, they're not really high on him, are they? Where is he?
No, I think you might have to
get out of here.
Yeah, right. That's ridiculous.
Wowzers. Trenton Simpson is ranked number 66 on PFF's linebacker. That's wild, man.
That's crazy.
That is very interesting. So linebacker is a huge need. There's not a lot of middle linebackers in this draft that are like starters, from day one at the next level. So where should we go from here, man? I think a guy that I'm going to go with, I just think he's such an underrated piece for any team that drafts him. He's 6'5", 347 pounds. He's an interior offensive lineman out of Florida, and I think he's super underrated. And the guy I'm going to go with for the New York Giants is O'Cyrus Torrence. He's a really big guy, wide frame, plays with controlled aggressiveness, plus run blocking, man. Just a great run blocker, as we know that the Giants like to do. He transferred from Louisiana to Florida last offseason and just did not skip a beat. He's got some weight issues. He was nearly 400 pounds early in his career, so that weight will need to be monitored. But I think this guy has all-pro written all over him, and I think he's just a guy that I think will fit really well for the New York Giants. I'm going to go O'Cyrus Torrence is a really nice pick.
Yeah, no, I like. He's definitely the kind of the clear-cut interior offensive lineman of the draft here. And yeah, like you said, big dude, can absolutely smash in the run game. And obviously with Saquon Barkley back there, anything you could do to make that man's job a little easier is a scary thing. So.
Yep. All right. The Dallas Cowboys are on the clock here. You look at this franchise, they, especially recently, they rarely add like expensive external talent on the first few days of free agency, but they made a lot of moves here. They sent a 5th-round pick to the Colts for Stephon Gilmore. He had a great 2022 season. They just added a guy who can stretch the field in Brandon Cooks for a 5th-round pick in 2023 and a 6th-round pick in 2024. They actually got a few of their highest-paid veterans to restructure their contracts. Tyron Smith, Michael Gallup, DeMarcus Lawrence all restructured their deals. And they also cut all-pro running back Ezekiel Elliott, saving themselves $10 million this season. They made some other things like re-signing C.J. Goodwin to a 1-year deal and Cooper Rush on a 2-year deal. Let's look at kind of the Dallas Cowboys needs: wide receiver, uh, defensive line, and linebacker. Where do the Cowboys go from here? I think Osiris Torrance was absolutely on that list. You look at tight end. Tight end Dalton Schultz is kind of up in the air for the Dallas Cowboys. That is a huge need. But this draft did not go as they wanted, with Dalton Kincaid and Michael Mayer going back to back at 21 and 22. That's a tough one. I'm just gonna go. I don't like these rankings, but I'm gonna go with I think will be a really nice fit, adding youth to that Dallas defense, which they need. And I'm gonna go Trenton Simpson here. I think he's a great fit for Dallas. He's he's a super athlete that can do a lot of different things: drop back in coverage, blitz, things like that. So Trenton Simpson is a Dallas Cowboy.
Nice. Yeah, he's definitely a nice player, and Dallas loves their linebackers for sure. I believe they re-signed Van Der Esch as well. So yeah, it's always they're always looking to add to that front seven for sure. So.
Mm.
All right, I am back on the clock here. I, as well, like the Giants and the Cowboys, would have loved it if Osiris Torrance was there, but unfortunately, you scooped him up. Again, there's a couple of corners I still like at this point, but again, I think with everything that we've just done, it kind of pushes that back. To maybe second or third round type. I'm gonna go. This isn't gonna be sexy. And to truth be told, I fully believe that the Eagles will be trading out of the first round here at the 30th pick. Might do it at 10 to trade back too. So. But I'm going to stay here, and it's not going to be sexy, but I think it's going to pay dividends in the long run. And I'm going to go with tackle Dawan Jones out of Ohio State. This dude is, I think he was up a little more. Yeah, there he is. The dude's just a massive, massive man. And listen, offensive line has been the bread and butter of this team for as long as I can remember, honestly. And you have one of the greatest offensive line coaches probably ever, honestly. And why not bring a guy in? You don't know how long Stoutland's going to be around, and you don't know how long you're going to have Lane Johnson for. Maybe it's another year, maybe it's not. But to learn under that team and to learn under that coach, all the veterans there, you have another year, Kelsey. This guy could absolutely gain just decades of knowledge under this coach, under these players, and fill in for Lane Johnson and not skip a beat. And I think that is a very important thing to Howie in this Eagles offense. And listen, like I said, it's not sexy, but I think you got to keep that train rolling if we want to continue to have the best offensive line in football for years to come.
Love it, man. All right, you're also on the clock again with the Washington Commanders at pick 47.
I know the Commanders, would really like to build up that defense. That seems to be where they put their priority. And I think until they figure out what they're doing at quarterback, I think it's a little silly to try and add weapons here and there. You obviously have a few already there, but until they really get their guy at quarterback, I feel like their focus is more going to be on the defensive side of the ball. So with that being said, I'm actually going to go with a linebacker. I believe he was up a little bit. You can just switch to overall linebackers there. Yes, Henley right. Out of Washington State. I feel like this guy's value has just been all over the board, and I liked what I saw in some of its games and what he did at the combine. I don't know if he's had his pro day. I haven't checked that out yet, but I always pay attention to linebackers, and I like the kid. I think he's a top 3 linebacker in this class, and I think the Commanders would love to get their hands on another linebacker, add to the front seven that's already pretty strong. And considering they added Brian Branch earlier, they're really trying to build up this defense, especially in this division. When you have the Eagles offense, you have the Dallas offense like coming at you, you're going to need to continue to build up their defense. So
the New York Giants are on the clock here at pick number 57. Real quick, kind of recapping what they did. They went with the offensive line at guard, adding Osiris Torrance. And now we are back on the clock here. You look at some of their needs, some big, literally tight end just came off the board here with Darnell Washington, who I was thinking for the Dallas Cowboys. We'll get to that in a second. All right. But you look at some of their other needs, wide receiver, center, linebacker is kind of tough right now for the New York Giants. I don't know if we're going to be able to find that middle linebacker. It's not going well. Noah Sewell, possibly, but that's kind of a reach at this point, maybe just a little bit. I'm just going to build inside. I'm going to build our interior offensive line and look at a player that I really like. And it's not Luke Whippler. It is another dude. There it is. Joe Tippmann. I'm going to go Joe Tippmann for the New York Giants. I mean, I think he's one of the biggest sleepers in the draft. He's played all over the interior offensive line since through the Senior Bowl in the draft process, and did not look a step behind. He's quick out of his stance in pass protection. He's huge at 6'6", 317 pounds. He was my number 10 offensive lineman on my big board. Just incredible power and strength. I think this guy can really get up into that second level. Really great at pulling and just dominating defenders in space. I like Joe Tippmann a lot out of Wisconsin. I think the Giants are just going to really solidify this offensive line through the first two rounds. So that is my selection for the New York Giants.
Yeah, I mean they definitely need help. Their offensive line has been greatly criticized over the last few years, and to be able to build that and get Barkley behind that, it has to be the plan there. It has to be.
Yeah. All right. So next we are on the clock with the Dallas Cowboys. What is our need here? We filled that need with a big trade today with Brandon Cooks at wide receiver. We drafted Trenton Simpson in the first round, so we addressed the linebacker. Interior defensive line is definitely a huge need. I want to quickly see who's available in that area. Siaki Ika, big time run stuffer. That could be a really good selection. I addressed the defense round one. I'm going to address the offense in round two. And it could be just because there's a run of tight ends that I do not like. And I don't know if one's going to be available. And I really like Sam Laporta out of Iowa. Big time playmaker. He ran the third fastest time of any tight end at the combine, 4.59 seconds. He has great tools. He struggled in that Iowa offense, poor quarterback play. He has reliable hands, really good route tree. He reminds me of like a Heath Miller, who was just dominant at the NFL level. I just think he's a good value guy on day two. I think Sam Laporta and Dak could definitely do well there. Do good things in Dallas.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I anytime you can get a tight end out of Iowa, I think it's a good thing. All right, Birds on the clock here. Recap, we got an edge, Miles Murphy. We went with a tackle out of Ohio State. I think right now, looking at their needs, I definitely could see them continuing to go offensive line. There's a couple of guys there, as you mentioned, Whippler. There's a Via from TCU. Because again, after Kelsey, we're all assuming right now Kelsey's back. We're assuming that the rookie's going to kind of move over to play guard, but we don't necessarily know that. So I could definitely see them trying to address getting a guard or another hybrid center guard to kind of go along, moving forward. But we already addressed offensive line, so I'm not gonna go crazy and have people with pitchforks at my door. Um, so I am gonna go over to the defensive side, and it's a guy you mentioned, interior defensive line.
Siaki Ika.
Yes, thank you. Siaki, you got it, Baylor. Yes. They obviously need help, interior line. They lost Hargrave. They have Jordan Davis coming in. He's going to be needed to be relied upon quite heavily. And, they're going to need some help there. So I could easily see them continuing to add to the interior defensive line. Somebody like, a Cansey out of Pitt is somebody I love. If we are to trade back from 10, kind of into that late teen, or even if for some reason he falls at 30, I think would be a great selection. But since that didn't happen, got to go with the next best thing. So
Love it, man. He's a monster.
Yeah.
He's a monster. Would be great on that rotation. Let's jump right into the Giants on the clock at pick number 89. I'm going to make this one fairly easy. I'm going to go Tank Dell. I'm going to go Tank Dell out of Houston for the New York Giants, man. This guy's only 5'8", 163 pounds. Normally, these kind of guys are like day three kind of dudes, but it's very rare to find like Tank Dell's level of speed and separation ability. This guy's unstoppable in one-on-one situations. He was the nation's leader in receiving touchdowns last year. He's an excellent route runner. He has phenomenal hands. Obviously, that size is a major concern, but I think he'd do really well in New York. And the New York Giants love to get the ball out fast and get it into their playmakers' hands, and I think that's what he thrives on. He's got it. In addition to Tank Dell's elite speed, he's got really good intangibles, really high football IQ. Tank Dell to the New York Giants would probably be a big problem for the Eagles defense.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to make that selection. And next we have the Dallas Cowboys on the clock at pick number 90 here. Where do we go from here? Siaki Ika was probably a nice little, nice big prospect for the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know. I think what I'm going to do here for the Dallas Cowboys is look at the best available running backs. I think what I'm going to do is I'm looking at Tank Bigsby. Tank Bigsby, just kind of to balance off of Tony Pollard just a little bit. Tank Bigsby is a really solid prospect. The other guy I was looking at was Devin Achane, but I'm going to go with a guy with really big-time upside, very explosive. He's small, but he plays with a physicality. He's patient between the tackles. I think he could add more to his frame. I think, with NFL coaches and trainers, I think we could even see him gain some weight there at the next level. He needs to add some strength, but I think Bigsby is a tough runner. He's got a nice blend of power and straight line speed, and definitely has 3-down running back upside at the NFL level. So give me Tank Bigsby here to finish off the Dallas Cowboys day 3 selection.
Very nice. I love that. I could definitely see Dallas still wanting to add a running back. I could honestly see them doing it, in any round. Honestly, they just it's just kind of who they are. That's what they love to do. So, Eagles are on the clock here at 94. This one's an easy selection for me. Eagles have a clear need at safety, and regardless of whether or not Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is back, they still have that need because you're essentially relying on Ed Reed Blankenship to step in. and play either be the starter or certainly be a very important piece to that defense. Um, and listen, they absolutely need somebody that can come in. We've swung and miss on a few guys over the years. Kevon Wallace being the one that sticks a thorn in my back. Uh, I'm going to go with Robinson out of Florida State. I really do like this kid. I think he's kind of getting slept on a little bit, but I think for end of the third round, that's a pretty good value to me. And he can come in and really kind of compete with Blankenship, honestly. And even if not, have a nice little kind of rotation and add to be that third safety kind of in the room. So definitely a big need to me is to build up the safety room, and hopefully Gardner Johnson is there too, because that'll soften the blow.
Love it, man. You're on the clock again. I forgot about this last pick.
Yeah, I forgot about it. I forgot about it too. All right. Let's see. Washington.
There's some intriguing interior offensive linemen here.
I was just about to say I do like Voorhees a lot. I did not know he was still around. I mean, snap. I mean, they definitely need offensive line help too. And like I said, they've been kind of trying to add. They got Wiley in this offseason. They've added a few depth pieces. I think Voorhees would fit in perfectly with them. They need some guard help. And, again, they need to build up that line as they figure out what they're doing at quarterback. If Hal's going to be the guy, then great. But if he's not, it would help if they bring in somebody, maybe not this year, maybe next year, and already have a line that's ready to protect. So I like what Voorhees did out of USC. He's a big dude, and I think he would fit in real nicely in Washington with what they're doing on that offensive line. So easy selection for the Commanders.
I had a round one grade on Andrew Voorhees when we did our offensive line rankings. And the biggest thing about Andrew Voorhees right now is he tore his ACL at the combine. So his right one. And so that's big. But like 6'6", can play anywhere across the offensive line. He's a little bit of an older prospect, but assuming he has a healthy recovery, I love that selection. I'm a big fan of Andrew Voorhees.
Yeah, right. and like I said, you don't necessarily need him this year. You need to just build that line up for whenever you have that quarterback. So,
all right. So that is our draft. I'm not sure how to. You can't look at it like per team.
I guess you can when you're doing multiple.
Let's start with the Eagles. Pick number 10. I'll go full results here. Pick number 10. The Eagles took Miles Murphy. At the back end of round one, they took DeJuan Jones, who I fully endorse. Love that guy. Good value there. I think he's got tons of upside. All right. In round two, Siaki Ika, big-time run stuffer out of Baylor. And then to round out day three, Jamie Robinson, safety prospect out of Florida State. That's solid, man. All big needs for the Eagles.
Yeah.
I
like it. And, again, we go into every draft. And, whether you're a casual fan or you're somebody like us who do way too many mock drafts. But, it's hard not to, really want the sexy pick to get the playmaker, to get the stud, to get, offensive linemen aren't sexy. Now, let's just be honest. It's not. But it has been the bread and butter of the Philadelphia Eagles for the longest time. We have had, over the history of our team, some amazing and great, not only individual players, but just lines itself. Just absolute mashers. And I don't see why they would ever go away from that. And it's not sexy, but you gotta constantly be thinking 3, 4, 5 moves ahead, and how he is. And you got to look at Lane Johnson. He's not going to be here forever. Jones could easily come in, and whether it's next year or not, he'll be there.
Absolutely love it. I'll do the Giants real quick, and I'll throw it to you for the Commanders. Giants picked Osiris Torrance, who I think has some of the biggest upside in the entire draft. I think Osiris Torrance has future All-Pro written all over him on the interior there. He doesn't have a lot of versatility. What he is an interior offensive lineman, and he thrives at it. He's extremely good at doing that. So that is a huge need for the Giants. In round 2, the Giants selected Joe Tippmann, another interior offensive lineman. So the Giants added an immense amount of talent and size on the interior to go along with Andrew Thomas. So they are loading up on the offensive line to help out Daniel Jones for the foreseeable future, which makes sense given how much money they just gave.
Right. Yeah.
All right. And then in round 3, the Giants took the exact opposite of size. It is Tank Dell at pick number 89. Tank Dell is just a lightning bolt, super quick feet. He didn't, just at the Senior Bowl, he was so impressive. And I think in the right role, he could do really well. And when I think of the Giants, I think of Daniel Jones just getting the ball out fast, bang, getting the ball to Tank Dell in space and letting his just physical gifts do all the work. So that is the Giants draft. And I think it was pretty good. I think it fits some of their needs pretty well.
Yeah, no, I think you did a great job. And I'd just like to point out that technically you just went back-to-back picks with somebody named Tank. that might be one for the history books. All right. So the Commanders had started out pick 16 with Brian Branch, who I honestly think is a steal at 16. I think this guy can come in and just be the man. And then at 47, Henley from Washington State. Again, we're adding to the defense here in Washington while we kind of figure out the offense and kind of see where we're going. And then 97 at the end of the third round. It's always good to add, offensive linemen. Voorhees, I think, it's a great value here at 97. And they've prioritized their offensive line this offseason. They haven't done anything that sexy, but they're looking to build their offensive line, which tells me, that they're going to go defense heavy in this draft. But the value here, I think it was just too hard to pass for the Commanders.
I love that draft. This is one of those weird situations. I don't know if it's
very
conflicting. It is conflicting because I'm really digging the Commanders draft there. I think Deion Henley is arguably the biggest winner of the draft process. Extremely athletic, especially dropping back into coverage. Has lightning quick feet, instincts. Really impressive linebacker. I love that selection. And speaking of linebackers, for the Dallas Cowboys, pick number 26, we went Trenton Simpson, another elite linebacker to add to that Cowboys defense to pair alongside with Parsons. I think that fit is extremely good for Dallas. Next up in round 2, the Cowboys went with big-time playmaker in Sam Laporta, who I think is underrated. It's just he's buried in possibly the best group of tight ends we've seen in a long, long time. Sam Laporta is that good that he falls all the way to round 2. Great size. He can do a lot of things, and that's a really good fit for them, especially with Dalton Schultz kind of up in the air, and whether or not he returns, we don't know. Round 3, the Dallas Cowboys added another playmaker on offense, and that is Tank Bigsby, an explosive athlete, a running back that can kind of fit next to and share touches with Tony Pollard for the foreseeable future. And I think the franchise tag is only 1 year, so who knows what the future holds in Dallas at the running back position. Although I like Tony Pollard quite a bit. So that pretty much rounds out. Now I'm actually like, to wrap this up, I like all these drafts for all four teams in the
Yeah,
NFC. I think they all did well.
I do too. It's it's funny. It's you say that it's very conflicting because you look at some of the other teams in the NFC East and you're like, damn, I would hate if they did that. But I honestly think we did a great job of adding needs to each team and kind of taking what they've done so far in this offseason and really shaping all four teams, to be honest, in a much better position, leading into the draft. So, honestly, I'm pat on our own backs here. I think we did a great job.
All right. So that wraps it up, Ryan. Final thoughts, plugs. Floor is yours, man.
Oh man, I absolutely love doing these mock drafts. Any way we can kind of do, switch it up and do something different, I'm all for. So you're definitely going to see a lot more mock drafts as the draft gets closer. We're about 6 weeks out?
Yeah,
so plenty of time. Yeah, plenty of time. You can always check me out right here at Twitter at Philly Sports PSA. Give it a follow. I'll give you a follow right back. Make sure you find us on YouTube. Just search Philly Sports Alliance. And then, of course, on Facebook. That's where most of our content flows. You get all of the Philly Sports Alliance shows. You get all of the Edge Philly Sports shows. Everything coming through. Put on those automatic notifications the second we go live. You're notified. You hop right in, join the conversation. That's the best way to do it. So, and also, of course, follow Deibs over here. He is pumping out videos left and right. Great stuff. Great stuff.
Yes, thank you so much, man. Yeah, we got tons of content if you love the NFL draft, from shorts to mocks to player rankings to big boards, you name it. It's all here. It's tomorrow night. We are ranking our final top 10 edge rushers in the draft. We're also doing another 3-round Eagles mock. So from the shorts to everything you can think of, be on the lookout. Tons and tons of videos every day dropping. That is Ryan Reese at Philly Sports PSA. Go check out Philly Sports Alliance and amazing content. If you love what you're watching, go check them out. I am Deibs. For Ryan, for myself, stay awesome, everyone.
Birds.